Alright, so today we're going to go ahead and we're going to create something. We're going to make an NPC using a book in the brilliant GM tools in the book Worlds Without Number, written by Kevin Crawford here. So he's noted for being an author that has awesome Dungeon Master, Game Master type tools and stuff like that that people use. Even if you don't play the game itself, the wealth of knowledge in this book is worth it alone. So I highly recommend it. But anyways, let's go ahead and let's turn to the NPC section. So as you see here, we're going to be using one roll tables, which means you take one of each of the standard set of dice minus the D100 essentially, and you roll them, one roll as it says, and you should be able to write down all the results and get something pretty fleshed out. There's one roll tables in here for a variety of things, but we're going to focus on NPCs because I want to make a really fleshed out important NPC. Whether the players interact with this PC, who knows, but we'll see. So we're going to get started. First, we're going to write down the different sections that are in this book. So pardon the handwriting here, but I'm a music teacher, so I don't get bonus points for writing. Anyway, so we've got the different sections: appearance and mannerisms, burning ambitions, close friendships, personal tragedies, and troubled romances. So we're going to start with appearances, obviously, as you can see for the header here. And we're going to do the roll and write down some details. Here are the results that we got, but you'll see them a little bit later once we finish this section. So as you can see here that we now have some appearances and mannerisms to play around with. They're a larger person, plump, voluptuous, or soft. They're laborious or weary in their motions. They have an emblem of a faith or social group on their person. They have an unusual hair style or texture to their hair. They're uncommonly socially awkward, and they pace constantly, and they prefer to stand. So already we have kind of an interesting set of traits. So we're going to move on to the next section here, burning ambition side right here. So we're going to roll on that table, get some more results and see what happens there. So with the burning ambitions here, what we have is that it's been burning since childhood. So their ambitions, in reference to this, it's all in reference to their ambition. They've had it since childhood. Everyone knows, but nobody's helping them at the moment. They're getting training from a patron in order to help them advance their ambition. Their goal, the basic ambitions form, is to topple an institution or business or faith. The biggest immediate obstacle is that they've made promises that are coming due. And then finally, things to help or hinder is that the deal they made is coming back to haunt them. So already, the ambition is kind of fully fleshed out, I feel like. There's a lot of information here. There's some cool stuff. And it's kind of contrary, almost kind of a little contrary to the appearance that you would think, right? A super socially awkward person that wants to bring down some sort of institution. It's just kind of like, all right, that's an interesting angle. Now we're going to look at close friendships next. So we're going to do the roll, and then we're going to fill that area out. All right, so we've established a close friendship with an old friend or an ally. They did important work for each other, and they made money together somehow. Makes me think they're a little bit maybe part of the merchant class or something like that. They trust each other's judgment. The religious dispute lingers between them, but both resent the same group or faith. Suddenly we're starting to get a little bit more idea about like the ambition and stuff, and even the appearance. Maybe these are merchants. These two close friends are merchants, and they're both trying to get rid of the same faith or go against one of the same faith, but they also have a dispute between each other as to what would be better in place or something like that. So I mean, overall, we're already getting an idea of a character, and it's all starting to weave and thread together. So the next section we're going to do is personal tragedies. So with personal tragedies, of course, we end up with, you know, the classic tragic backstory. And while that's sometimes you don't need that, it's fun to just kind of do a thought experiment and see just what exactly a person may be dealing with in their past, right? And, you know, I offer this up as a warning. Just be careful, like, depending on the players and stuff like that. You want to make sure you're careful about what kind of tragedies, quote unquote, you put in there, or at least talk it over and see what's acceptable. So if something comes up here that is maybe a little bit, you know, a little bit too close to home for some, you just want to be wary about that. But overall, let's take a look at the list and see what we get. All right, so for their tragedy, it looks like it's pretty fresh. It happened recently, and it's made a mistake. It's a mistake that they contributed to. Well, they made a mistake that contributed to the problem. It looks like they deal with it by seeing, you know, losing themselves in addiction, self-medicating, essentially. They lost the basic form of the tragedy is that they lost something dear to them, and they reenact the suffering onto others, which is a very interesting point. It's kind of, so far, nothing seems to be inherently malicious about the character, but this part's going to be fun to ideate on. And finally, they made deals they're still laboring under. So again, going back to the merchant class thing, this has to do with a deal that they made, and maybe it was kind of a nefarious deal. You know, we'll see. And you know, we got one last section for them, is the troubled romances. So we're going to go ahead and do that. All right, so the romances deliver something interesting. It's a new romance. It's an unlikely random chance that they met together. They were socially obligated to be together, maybe, and it turned real, like it turned into actual love. And the pairing is socially unacceptable. Interesting. One is being asked to sacrifice a dear thing, and one is plotting a grand deed for the other. So overall, some really cool, interesting things that offer a lot of depth to the NPC. And so I'm going to take some time to think about this and put together like a little backdrop for this NPC and include like a name and other stuff like that. So I think this gives us, you know, in not a lot of time, it gives us a pretty fleshed out character that we can use, or at least, you know, the skeleton of a very fleshed out character that we can use. And so I recommend doing stuff like this, especially if you're out of ideas for whatever reason. Have yourselves an awesome day. Go make something, be creative. It's cool stuff. It's good for you. It's good for the soul, right?